We as a nation are much too strong to be brought down by China or Russia, but we can be brought down from inside. We, the American people, are not each other's enemies. And we have to be very cautious of those who are trying to incite division.
Hello, I'm Dr. William E. Morgan, president of Parker University, and today I have a very special guest, Dr. Ben Carson, former presidential candidate, secretary of HUD, and also you're the department chair for pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins University.
Correct.
Well, welcome to Parker University. We're humbled and honored to have you here. You're going to be speaking at our seminar in a few minutes.
Well, I was very delighted to come here because they believe at Parker University in a lot of the things that I believe in, particularly in terms of the fact that the human body is designed to heal itself if you take care of it the right way.
Amen.
You put the right things into it, you have the right behaviors. In fact, I'm always saying that if people ate correctly, keep themselves hydrated, don't put harmful things in their bodies, exercise and sleep, most people in the health professions will be out of work.
Truly. Well, our belief is all we need to do is remove the barriers to good health and the body will heal itself.
Absolutely.
So we've had some interesting conversations here. And one of the things that we were talking about is our project that we have going about having a extended health span to our life. Medicine is able to extend our lifespan, but for a lot of people, they have the last 18 years of their life, or 18% of their life, they're fighting disease.
Sure.
We want to extend the health span to have, not to be too optimistic, but maybe just 20 more good years. And you're actually in that point where a lot of people like to retire at 65, but like for yourself, you have life experiences that you need to keep sharing with the world.
Yeah.
And to get that 20 more years to take your time as the department head at Johns Hopkins, in charge of HUD for our nation, the things you've learned along the way, they still need to be shared with others. So you have a passion to go forward.
They do.
What does it take to attain 20 more good years?
Well, you have to have something that drives you. No question about that. I was planning to retire after HUD, after the administration was over. But I saw a lot of things happening in our country that were very concerning to me. And so myself and several other outstanding people put together a think tank / do tank called the American Cornerstone Institute, which concentrates on the cornerstone pillars that made us into a great nation: faith, liberty, community, and life. And we also have a pediatric component called Little Patriots program. Teach the children the real history of our country, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but there's a lot more good than there is bad and ugly. You have some organizations that grab the bad and ugly, and that's all they talk about. And, that provides tremendous incentive for me because I don't want to see my kids and my grandkids and all of those who are coming after us lose all the wonderful advantages that we had in this country.
We have a great nation. And I tell people when I reflect on our nation is, though we've fallen short time and time again, we've never let go of the ideals espoused in the Constitution. Those are pure, those are righteous, and that's what we hold to. We've fallen short, but we strive towards that.
We do. And, we have people who were spectacular in putting together our Constitution. They actually studied every system of government that had ever existed in the world. And they were eclecticists. They took the good stuff, they discarded the bad stuff, and they came to the realization that governments all do the same thing. They grow, they infiltrate, and they dominate. No matter how they start out, that's how they end up. And they tried to create a document, our Constitution, that will keep our government from doing that, from growing, infiltrating, and dominating the people. It's a challenge, and you have to really work at it, and you need people who really understand it and who are courageous and will stand up for their belief systems. But I think America has been through some pretty awful things and survived. I think we'll survive this too.
I think we will too. And the concept, one of the things I'm a little worried about, though, is people not wanting to serve in the military, because if you're being taught how terrible the United States is, well, why would I want to go serve in the military for a terrible nation?
That is a problem.
And it really is, because you should have some patriotic belief in your country, even if it's the ideals of your country, like I talked about.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we started the Little Patriots program, because the indoctrination starts early. You know, the Bible says in Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, not depart from it. Well, guess what? Our enemies recognize that too. And that's why Marxist in chief Lenin said, give me your children to teach for 4 years, and the seed that I sow will never be uprooted.
Wow.
And that's why they're so anxious to get in our schools. And in fact, if you look at the congressional record, January the 10th, 1963, you look at the 45 goals of the Communist Party just read into the record on that day. One of them is to gain control of the public schools so that you can indoctrinate the kids. And some people think this is of recent origin. That was written 60 years ago.
Wow. We're private school here, and we're not a religious school. We're a healthcare institution, and we love our country, and we love what our country stands for. We want to make sure that it keeps going in the right direction.
Absolutely. And we will. We've been through some awful things over the years, and we survived them. And a lot of it has to do with the can-do attitude, which some people are trying to supplant with the what can you do for me attitude. But, you know, that's the reason that we have to stay in there. We have to fight. We have to help people to recognize the incredible opportunities that exist in this country. There's a reason that people who come from other countries do so well in our country.
They see it for what it is, the opportunity. What you just said about what can you do for me rather than what could I do for the nation. In healthcare, the failure of healthcare is the reliance upon an outside source for health. True health does not come out of a pill bottle.
Right.
It doesn't come from, you're a great physician, you're a great doctor. True health does not come from you, the head of Johns Hopkins neurosurgery pediatrics division. It comes from the things we do, as you said. Do we have healthy relationships? Do we sleep enough? Do we eat? Do we avoid toxins? And do we exercise?
Right.
Once you have self-actualization and take responsibility for yourself, you're much more likely to be healthy.
Absolutely.
And that's what we would like to share. And that's where the 20 more good years comes in. Like you're putting your 20 more good years in right now. You're not retiring. You're the embodiment of what I'm talking about. How are you going to fulfill the next, let's make it 14 years to get your 20 years?
Well, I'm hopeful that I have another 14 years.
Of good years. I would like good, active.
Years. And that's the key, good years, because as you know, there's been an explosion of Alzheimer's and degenerative diseases of the brain because people live much older, but they don't occupy themselves. That's the difference. And we need to get people, when they retire, when they're elderly, to stay involved with intellectually challenging things. That's what keeps the brain active.
You mean like running for president and running HUD?
That helps. But even if you're just going to get into a chess club or something, something that keeps you intellectually stimulated, many scientific explorations have shown that it makes a huge difference in terms of the quality of your life.
And you as a physician, I know you've seen this. When people retire, if they don't have something better to do, they
deteriorate.
They deteriorate. As I was in practice for 40 years, and I would tell people who were considering retiring, you shouldn't retire unless you have something more important to do.
Right.
And that could be raising your grandkids. It could be volunteering at your church. It could be working at a local nonprofit. But you should find something more important than your current work if you're going to retire.
Well, also, I mean, things have changed physically for people. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, somebody who was 50 looked old.
They did.
And now you see 50-year-olds, you think they're 35. I mean, it really has changed quite a bit. And, you know, we need to start changing with it. But, you know, it's a delicate balance because if older people don't move off the stage, it doesn't provide adequate room for the younger people either. So These are all things that we have to take into consideration. What kinds of things are the appropriate things for elderly people? You look at some of our elderly political figures. Sometimes they're not quite as sharp as they used to be.
Notice that.
And that's a problem. And we as a society need to deal with that by simply doing the same thing that they do in the corporate world. When somebody's very old, you do mental status exams on them. That's part of their routine annual examination. Why wouldn't you do that? When airline pilots and people who operate sophisticated equipment reach a certain age, they begin to test these things. But you can be a high government official and you can be very dysfunctional and just be hiding in the closet.
Well, I worked on Capitol Hill for 2 decades, and I know there was some elderly statesmen at that point there, and one nearly 100 years old, but it still is certainly in the Senate. It's the longer you're there, the more powerful you become.
Right.
Your seniority counts so much more. We're in the House, not so much. You can get voted into rank there, but the Senate, you gain power with years. So it almost incentivizes senility in the Senate.
You're exactly right. And we've seen the result of it, and it's not a good result.
No, it's not.
But also, our founders were very smart people, but they never anticipated that people would want to stay in office, for decades. So they didn't build that into our Constitution. That's why our representatives, for instance, have to run every other year. They spend half their time raising money for the election. That wouldn't occur, obviously, if they were just going to be there for a couple of years and then go back home, which is what they thought would happen. And it's something that really needs to be examined because it doesn't make any sense.
You're talking about career politicians.
Yeah, we should think maybe a representative should be in office for 10 years and they can't be reelected. And they can be recalled every 2 years. So that way, if they were doing a terrible job, you can get rid of them. But you don't have all these special interests impinging upon their decision.
This is interesting. And we look in healthcare, a neurosurgeon. If you're a neurosurgeon, would they allow, we're talking 20 more good years, but it might be the time of this aspect of my life is done. I can't be a fighter pilot. I can't be, like Floyd can't be a Navy SEAL after a certain point.
But there's still things that you can do with the knowledge that you've
Exactly.
acquired that are very useful. And, I don't want somebody who's 81 operating on my brain. I really don't. But I would love to benefit from their wisdom and their knowledge and their experience that's gone on.
What I like here is when we get doctors who've completed their years in practice and they're done, they've had enough time there and they don't want to do the daily grind of a practice, but they want to come back and give back to the students. And they bring their years of experience and knowledge. That's what I love.
Absolutely.
I'd love to give those folks 20 more good years to share that lifetime of knowledge, and particularly the patient interactions, because there's certain things you just can't. It's hard. You can't teach from a book.
No, you can't.
You have to teach from experience.
And also, we can take advantage of the technology that has allowed people to do things remotely now. You can bring in a whole panel of people who've sort of reached the retirement age, but still have a lot to offer, and bring them together in a group and discuss various topics with some of the younger people to pass on that intergenerational knowledge. And that would keep them sharp also.
And there's advisory boards for companies and universities where you bring it. And it is important that, if you forget the history of a place, you'll repeat it.
Right.
And it's good. Like we have on our board, they roll off at 9 years, but they come back in. But it's important that we have that longitudinal knowledge, and we keep refreshing that. Hey, remember, we've tried this once before, and this was the outcome. You might not want to do this.
And also, if you continue to do that, you're not likely to have the kind of mistakes that we're seeing in a lot of areas now that have already been experienced. Wisdom is being able to learn from somebody else's mistakes. Stupid people or unwise people have to make all the mistakes themselves. And it doesn't matter that they've seen somebody else do it. They think it's going to be different for them. Isn't that the definition of insanity?
It is the definition of insanity. So a lot of giving back, like you're in this think tank, and the name of it again is
American Cornerstone Institute.
American Cornerstone Institute, is that you bring in your knowledge. So you can bring it from industry to the government, to every aspect, from being a physician. And physicians have a heart. You're and watching the debates, there was rudeness going on, but you're always the gentleman among them all, the higher calling.
Well, with our think tank, it's also a do tank. That was the nickname that Glenn Beck gave us, because we do stuff too. Like we have the Little Patriots program. We create a cartoon series that takes on various topics. And it's beautifully done. It was up for an International Animation Award this year. It's so well done. And all of this stuff comes with various program books, can be used by parents and grandparents, teachers, private schools, public schools, homeschools. Extremely well done. And anybody who looks at it says, yeah, but this is going to be too expensive. We can't enroll in that. It's free of charge.
Oh, really?
Because we've gotten people to underwrite the cost of it.
Not necessarily a political organization.
Not political at all. It's
okay.
Completely apolitical. But we just want people to know the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But an honest appraisal will show you that there's a lot more good than there is bad and ugly in this country.
Our founder had a bunch of saying principles. And one of them was, you see the world as you are, not necessarily as it is.
Right.
So if you're an angry, bitter person, and you see the world as an angry, bitter place, what does that say?
Yeah.
It means that you're seeing it as you are, through your lens. Where if you see the world as a beautiful, lovely place, you might be a beautiful, lovely person.
Right. You always interpret it based on your feel. That's what I tell people who say that this is a racist country and that everything is racist. Well, if you go into a situation expecting that, then no matter what someone says, you're going to see, I told you they were racist.
If you wait long enough, your prophecy will come true. If you want, you're right.
You'll always see what you're looking for, because that's how you interpret.
Well, you've seen that in medical research.
Yes.
That's why you have to double blind the researchers, because
exactly.
I've done research, and if you want an outcome, you're going to find that outcome.
Exactly.
You bias your own research. So even if you're trying to double blind it, it's still hard to remove the bias from your research.
But the key thing that I think we have to do now in this country is encourage people to be courageous and to be willing to stand up for what they believe in. Because if you go back historically and you look at countries that have changed to a socialist or communist state, it usually is because people didn't stand up for what they believed in. And they allowed themselves to be run over. And I have to emphasize this, it's a natural tendency. If you don't fight for your freedom every day, you're going to lose it. It's a natural tendency of man to want to dominate man. They just can't live peacefully. You do your thing. They just can't do it. They just can't leave people alone.
What's the nature of government, too, is power is always expanding. Exactly. Something we talked earlier about was the government. But when they established Social Security, the life expectancy of an American was 65.
Yeah.
So that you'll get a retirement starting the day that most people are going to be dead. Exactly. We actually need to push it back a little further just so we can afford retirement.
Well, government has expanded to such a degree, and it's so wasteful at this point, that the average expenditure for health care for each American is $13,100 a year for every American.
Wow.
Think about that. Most concierge practices are $5,000 to $10,000 a year. You could put everybody in a concierge practice and have money left over. I mean, we are so inefficient. It is unbelievable.
Well, I've worked in government healthcare systems. I know. So I think we're getting close to the end of our time here. Dr. Carson, do you have any parting words for our audience?
Yeah, my parting word would be that we, the American people, are not each other's enemies. And we have to be very cautious of those who are trying to incite division on the basis of race, age, income, gender, religion, political affiliation, you name it, driving wedges. We as a nation are much too strong to be brought down by China or Russia or North Korea or Iran, but we can be brought down from inside. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And we have to grasp those incredible, wonderful principles that gave us strength. Yes, we need to recognize that we were not perfect. We have done some incredible things. Let's focus on those things. Let's focus on the opportunities. Let's expand those opportunities. And let's move forward and not backward.
Oh, blessings. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Absolutely.
joining us today. You've been listening to Dr. Ben Carson at Parker University.